Hey, everybody. What is going on? Kinsey here. Happy Saturday. Is that right? Yeah, Saturday. Hope you guys are having a great weekend and that you guys are having a warmer time than I am. It is like 20 degrees here in Utah today. It is a chilly one. We haven't been getting a lot of snow. It has just been super cold. And so I challenge you to grab a warm beverage, whether that is hot chocolate or tea or coffee, and sit down and just enjoy this little live with me. We are going to be talking about some of my favorite gear finds in 2024. They are not going to be these big items such as tents or backpacks or, kind of some of those really big items. These are going to be all items that are under $25, or no, under $50. I'm so sorry, under $50. And they are pieces of gear that maybe aren't necessary, but I have found that they have solved a problem that I have dealt with in the backcountry. And so I am a huge fan of gear that serves a purpose and that solves a problem. And yeah, I just like little odd gear things. And so I thought I would share some unique things, maybe some things you guys have seen here on the channel before, but some things that have really just changed some things for me in the backcountry this year. And so yeah, I have them all in my bear canister here. So we're going to talk about 12 different items, and they're all here in my bear canister. So we are going to pull them out one by one, kind of Russian roulette style. I don't know what order we're going to go in, but put them all in here, and we're going to go over the ones that that I want to share with you guys. So they're all in here, and we can get into it. So the very first one that I found this year, I made a video about it. It was one of my very first YouTube videos, but in 2024, Chicken Tramper Gear came out with a bear can key. And so it is this little thing right here on the outside of my bear can. So what better way to start this video than to talk about how we're going to get into this bear can. So I hiked the John Muir Trail earlier in 2024, and you had to carry this thing for all 20 days of the trail. And we did it in September, so it was a little chilly. And honestly, I have a really hard time getting into this thing, even without cold fingers or any of that stuff. And so this piece of gear, when I thought about doing the JMT, the very first thought was, oh, I have to get into my bear can X amount of times a day. And what a struggle. And so right before I went on the trail, I found this item, and it was just a lifesaver for me personally. And so super easy. You just put this key right over the little notch there, and you just twist. And it is so easy, guys. I know that there's a couple different ways to do this. People have said credit cards and use your spork, but I put my spork in my bear canister. So how am I going to do that? And so, like I said, if it weighs a couple ounces, y'all, and it solves a problem for me, I'm here for it. So let's see what we have. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is maps. So I know you may, wow, words today. I know you may be thinking, why are we talking about maps? This is not a piece of gear. It is a piece of gear. Some people do take these out on trail. Now, while this is not something that I would take out on trail, it is something that in 2024 I found super helpful in planning some of my trips, just to have and to help in that planning process. And so before, I would plan all of my trips through apps such as Garmin, All Trails, all the things. And it was, on the computer, you would zoom in, scroll over, zoom out, scroll over, like try to find as you're planning different things. And so having a tangible physical map has really helped me in the planning process of some of my bigger trips. And it's just allow me to see the map in a different way, allow me to actually hold it, look at it, examine it in just a different way. I still use all of the online platforms such as Garmin and Onyx. I just got Onyx this year as I'm planning a trip. And Yeah, still use all of those resources, but I have found something really helpful and valuable about marking on a map, having it laid out on my table, being able to see it just in its totality. And for me, this has just been really helpful. And so you can find this kind of map for just about any trail you're going to do or a certain area that you're going to do, and they're like 15 or $20. And so some people, like I said, will take these out with them. I usually have my Garmin InReach, which I have the route downloaded on, and then I also have a couple different maps on my phone. And so while yes, they are both electronic, they kind of have a fail-safe, as in I am not just using my phone with a couple different apps. I'm using my phone, and then I also have my Garmin. And so while I don't take this out on trail, it is a piece of gear that has helped me in 2024 just with my route planning. So there's number one. Or no, actually number two, because we talked about the Bearkey can. And on the note of the Bearkey can is $10 on Chicken Tramper gear. And like I said, I know some people are like, it's silly. I think it's really helpful. And so I have a couple of them on all my different bear cans. All right, next up, let's talk about this. What is it? Actually, I have two bags that are just like each other, and so I'm actually not sure which one this is. All right, so this is the Outdoor Vitals down hood or baklava, depending on what you prefer. I switched to a quilt in 2024, and so on some of those colder nights, I found that this is helpful just because I'm used to a mummy type sleeping bag. I like that my head was covered. And so on those nights that I know that it's going to be really cold, I like bringing this along just as an extra layer of protection. They say that your head and your feet is where you lose the most heat. And so I will wear a beanie when I'm out there, and then I'll also bring this along and wear this. And so this is Outdoor Vitals. This is $44.99 on their website. There's a bunch of different brands that make these. Outdoor Vitals was just one of the cheaper options. And so I knew that this wasn't going to be a piece of gear that I need to rely on and that I'm going to take on every single trip. And so I went with the cheaper option on this specific thing. I know Z-Packs makes one. I know that Catabatic Gear makes one. I know that there's probably any company that makes down quilts makes a down hood. But this was the most budget-friendly one for something that I can't see myself using a lot, but it's definitely nice to have when I have some of those trips planned in colder weather. Let's put this back in here. And Outdoor Vitals, I haven't used a lot of their gear, but I do know that they have some pretty good budget options for ultralight gear. I'm not recommending it. Like I said, I've never used it, but I am always surprised by their price point and their weights. And I watch a lot of their YouTube videos, watching their team go out on some really awesome treks. And so, haven't used much of their stuff, but it seems like they're up to some good stuff. And I know they've put a lot of their gear through the ringer. And so if you've never heard of Outdoor Vitals, maybe this is your time to look into them for some budget-friendly ultralight options. All right, next up, let's grab Hot Lips. So I don't know about you, but I love my morning coffee. I have been drinking tea while I'm on trail at night as well. And so having something to protect my lips from my super hot stove or super hot pot has been really helpful, because I feel like by the time I get to my coffee or tea, it is cold if I wait for the outside to cool down. And so I have my jet boil here. Just to show you guys how this works, but super easy, just clips right on the side of there. And then you can drink without burning your lips on the metal. And so I think it's a super awesome little add-on, super lightweight. Heck yeah, who doesn't love it? And those come in a pack of 2 at REI, and they are $8.95. So whenever we did the JMT, I gave one to Meg. She took it on the trip, and I took mine. And so, yeah, super, super great little tiny trinket that solves a problem. Okay, next up, let's go with something else that I've made a full YouTube video about here on the channel. Flip fuel. So this is, I believe, $35 at REI or Garage Grown Gear or wherever you buy it. Under that $50 mark, saves me so much. I love this little piece of gear. I have half empty canisters all around my shed, and so this has been helpful when I go out on a couple night backpacking trip. I don't use even one of the 100-gram canisters. I don't use all of that, and so I always can ensure that I have a full can going into the backcountry. And it's also helped me realize, how much fuel I actually use and if I can get away with a half of a container, that sort of thing on a couple night backpacking trip. And so this little gadget will transfer fuel in between two different canisters. So if you have a couple half empty canisters or, maybe there's just a little bit of fuel left, you can transfer that fuel into a different canister that is maybe 75% of the way full or half full, and just combine those two canisters so you don't have to have 100 different little canisters all around your shed. I'm actually due to do this process and kind of combine some of the canisters that I've used in the past couple months, and so yeah, this has just been something that has been helpful in my journey, in my backpacking journey, and solves a problem of having a bunch of half-empty backpacking fuel canisters hanging around. And so what I do if there's not a whole lot left is I will actually have a big container that we take when we're overlanding, and I will just dump that little bit of fuel into the one that we take when we go overlanding and kind of just keep filling that one up. And so if you haven't heard of Flip Fuel, we love it. Super great. All right. Next up, let's talk about some bathroom things. A internet hot topic to be talked about. But if you are a girl, chances are you have heard about it, the Coola Cloth. It solves the problem of not having to carry a bunch of toilet paper into the backcountry. So we absolutely love this. And while you guys may all know about Coola Cloths, one thing that I didn't know is that you could actually customize these. And so my friend for my birthday this year got me one with my podcast logo on it, and I just thought it was such a fun little gift. I know I made a whole video about the gifts that I got and the outdoorsy gifts. I got so many awesome gifts this year, y'all, for my birthday, and this was one that just made my heart happy. And I've had couple Coola Cloths in the past, didn't even know that this was a possibility, and so just thought that was really fun. You can go to coolacloth.com and order these. I think they're $33.33 for the custom one. And so yeah, if you are a woman and you don't like taking toilet paper into the backcountry for your number one issues, then a Coola Cloth solves that problem and is reusable. It is antimicrobial. It's, I think, silver infused, so it fights off the bacteria and kind of cleans itself somehow. I don't know the technology. I don't know how it works. I'm not a mad scientist, okay? But I've used this for years and absolutely love it. Sticking on, we'll just grab out the next thing. Sticking on the bathroom train is the trowel that I got this year. So this is the Packed Outdoors ultralight trail or trowel. And I love this for a multitude of different reasons. Before, I had to get my trowel out. I had to, have a bag that had toilet paper and hand sanitizer, and just you've seen the ditty bags that people have. And so I love this because it is kind of all in one. So it is not only a trowel like so, and if I didn't have my Luco tape on it, you'd be able to see the 6-inch line, but it's right at the bottom of the Luco tape. But there is a 6-inch line there, and so I love that it tells me exactly how deep I need to dig my hole. That's super awesome. I love that this fits right inside, so it's super compact. And then we have our toilet paper already packed in here. So they are in little round squished things like so. You just put a dab of water and it expands into toilet paper. And so we love that it's super compact. And then in the bottom of this is going to be some tablets that you actually put in your hole once you're done to help break down your number 2 situation. And so super awesome features, and just love what they're doing to, if we're making an impact in the wilderness, at least these little tabs will help break things down a little bit faster. Definitely always pack out your TP. Even if they say that you don't have to, please do it anyways. And yeah, this is, I believe, let's look, I have my little list down here, $35 at REI. And so I know there's a million trowels out there. They all kind of serve the same purpose, but I don't know. This one was really cool. It's really unique. It has a couple different features, and I like that. I like that everything is in one place. I can just grab this out of my backpack and go take it to wherever I'm going to go dig a hole. And so there you have it. All right. Next up, let's dig out of the bear canister. All right. This year, I keep saying this year, but really it was 2024. In 2024, I got a new headlamp. And so the problem that this headlamp specifically solved for me was I don't have to worry about taking extra batteries into the backcountry. So before, I would always worry because I never know how full batteries, normal batteries are. I would pack an extra 2 batteries or however many my headlamp took, and I would have them in my pack. And the thing about this one, which is the Nitecore UL 25, and it is rechargeable. And so it'll tell me at the top how much battery life is left. And then I can just use my battery pack, which I already have with me to charge my cell phone, my camera, all of the things. And I can recharge this on the go so that I always know how much is in it, and I have a solution without having to bring in extra weight into the backcountry. And so it's a super lightweight. I love that it's super minimal. And yeah, I love it. It is super bright. I use it to climb Mount Whitney at like 3 a.m. Puts out really good lumens as well. And so this comes in at $36. We love it. Super cheap. And we just like that it's rechargeable and that it's lightweight. It's lighter than any of the ones that I had before, and I don't have to worry about bringing extra batteries with me into the backcountry. All right, next up we have my other thing that I told you looks identical to the other one. So this is going to be an Outdoor Vitals down booties. So same idea. I said earlier that your feet and your head lose the most heat. That's where you can lose the most heat. And I struggle with cold feet. I know that's a really common problem that a lot of people have in the backcountry. Even if you have a great sleeping bag, even if you have great socks, people are just known to have cold feet. And so this is a great little extra layer to put around your feet while you're out there in the backcountry, especially if you're going to be backpacking in colder temps. Like I said, I bought both of these items, this and the baklava or the hood, for the John Muir Trail, just because I knew we were going to possibly see temps in the teens. And so I just really want to make sure that I was warm and that I was comfortable. And so right at the last minute, I grabbed both of these items, went with the Outdoor Vitals option, like I said, because it was the cheaper of the options. This isn't a piece of gear that I see myself taking all the time on all my trips. And so for the amount of times I was going to use these, I didn't want to spend, the top dollar for them. And I think they still are really great quality. I think the down is still great. And they definitely serve the purpose that I wanted out of them. And so these come in right under $50, 3 cents shy at $49.97. And so they're right there. This is actually, I think, the most expensive item that we're going to talk about in this video. But yeah, Outdoor Vitals down booties. If you have cold feet, definitely something that I would spend the money on, just to be comfortable. Sometimes, people talk about not having luxuries. I need luxuries, okay? If I'm going to be out there, I want to be comfortable and I want to have the best time possible. And so there's a lot of things that are already hard in the backcountry. I don't need to be freezing in the middle of the night or my toes to be cold. And so don't let anybody shame you for the things that you bring into the backcountry if they're going to help you have a more positive experience. And so if this is something that would be helpful for you, I hope that you go check them out. And yeah, I hope that you have no more cold toes. All right. Next up, we're kind of moving into some, no, not truly. I was going to say food things, but this is maybe the only food thing. All right. So next up, we have this GCI food scraper. And so this has been something that I have found to be really helpful if you cook in your pot. And so I have a couple brands of food that I eat occasionally while I'm in the backcountry that require me to cook in my pot. The bags that they're in do not have or are not, you're not supposed to put the water directly in them. You're supposed to cook them in your pot. And I also always do my oatmeal in my pot in the morning and my coffee. And so cleaning dishes in the backcountry, it's not a lot of fun. It's not easy. You don't have your sink or your dishwasher like you do at home. Oh, hello, Banjo. And so, yeah, just not super easy to wash dishes in the backcountry. And so I find that if I can get as much food out of my pot as possible, then the easier it's going to be to clean. And so this has kind of a harder side on one side and a more flimsy side on the other. And you can just take your pot without the hot lips in it and scrape your food. You can eat it and make sure you get a happy pot. Make sure you get all of the goods, all of the calories, all of the things out of here with this little scraper. And so, like I said, it just makes, I get all my calories, which is really important in the backcountry, and I have an easier time doing my dishes. And so this comes in at $6.95. I believe you can buy it at REI, Amazon, those sort of places. And like I said, this has been a really good, helpful tool for me to use in the backcountry. All right, moving on to my trail rag. If you guys have seen my backpack, you guys always see this hanging right here. This is something that I added to my pack in 2024. This is the Glacial Gear Trail Rag. Shout out Shane, my guy. We go backpacking together, and we've gone the past 2 years. He is the owner of Glacial Gear. He is a super human being, and I absolutely love him. But this comes in at $19.99. It's made out of merino wool, and I keep it right here. I keep it right here for a couple of different reasons. Sometimes during the day, I need to wipe my lips. When I'm hiking, I kind of get a little bit of like sticky lips a little bit sometimes. I don't know if anybody else has had that experience. Drop a comment if you haven't, if I'm not crazy. Another thing is occasionally when I'm in cold temperatures, I get a little bit of a runny nose, or things like that start to happen. Another thing that I use this for is actually once I have cleaned out my pot and I've washed it with water and all of that, I'll actually use my rag to dry my pot out before I put my fuel canister and all of those things in here. And yeah, I just find it helpful to have a little rag in case you need to wipe something. Occasionally I'll use it to wipe my sunglasses, like clean my sunglasses. Has a lot of uses for sure. And I think I already said $19.99. And yeah, super great. They make a couple different things, all merino wool, and they make this in a couple different sizes, but I just always wear the small right here on my shoulder and have access to it as I'm hiking. And so new piece of gear that I added in 2024 that I love and adore, and that has helped me on trail. What's up, Murph? All right. Only 2 items remain of my 12 that we were talking about in this video. Okay, I'm gonna save my favorite for last, my most life-changing piece of gear for last. So second to last is gonna be my trail brush. So this is my spork that I take out to eat when I'm in the backcountry. This isn't something that I'm planning to talk about, but let's go ahead and talk about it. It is a sport cover. And so people are like, what the heck? Why do you have that? I put my spork in the netting of my backpack, and I just always worried that I was going to rip that netting with my spork. It happened, I mean, on trail all the time. I was constantly thinking about it every time I would lean up against something, or, you're wearing your backpack and you lean up against a rock or something. I just was always worried that my spork was going to rip a hole in something. And so I found this. It's from a brand called Hard-Side Hydration, which we're going to talk a little bit more about. That's my last piece of gear that we're going to talk about. But Hard-Side Hydration makes a sport cover, which to me was just an automatic yes, this is something that I want. Also, since I do now use, this was what I was originally going to talk about, my trail brush. This is helpful to help keep my spork clean when I want to use this end. And then this little box helps me keep this side clean when I want to use this end. And so, trail brush. It is a toothbrush that is on the end of my spork. So if you've ever heard ultralight backpackers talk about cutting off the handle of their toothbrush, this is kind of the same general idea. You're just using a utensil that you chances are already have with you, and it's giving it a multifunction. And so instead of having to carry a toothbrush and a spork, we kind of now have all in one. And so this is a trail brush. Z-Packs makes it. There's another brand out there, I think just called Trail Brush, that makes them as well. But I got mine from Z-Packs, and yeah, it just turns your spork into a toothbrush. It's super cheap. I think it's $7.95, and they even send you a really small thing of toothpaste as well. And so yeah, just a little way to turn something that you're already taking into the backcountry and dual purposing it. And so that is ultralight backpacking at its finest here in this little invention. All right, and last but not least is probably the thing that everyone has been so interested in, and I get tons of questions about this. And yeah, so let's talk about it. Hard side hydration. I don't like the idea of backpacking with a bladder. I find that it is really hard to fill up when you get to water crossings, or you're filtering water. You have to pull your bladder, kind of unpack your backpack, pull the bladder out, fill it up, put it back in. And so I just really like having my water on the outside of my pack, easily accessible. However, I don't like reaching into the back pocket of my water, of my backpack, and finding that water bottle. I've also backpacked with the water bottle here, and I still just don't like it. I can't drink this water bottle here, take it out, open it, drink it. I feel like I'm gonna spill it all over the place if I walk and try to drink like that. And so I really liked the idea of having the bladder, hose, but I didn't like the idea of a true like Camelback. And so what Hard Side Hydration has done is you can put a smart water bottle on here. It can still live in that hip pocket, or that back pocket, and then you still have the hose here to drink from. And so I can easily just sip on my water as I'm walking along the trail. I don't have to stop, pull it out, all the things. And so this has been one of my most life-changing pieces of gear that I found in 2024, and just absolutely love this. If you backpack with a Nalgene or something like that, instead of this, ultralight style smart water bottle thing, they do make this same contraption for a Nalgene. There's a couple different sizes that they make, and so yeah, they're onto something really cool. or thought about hydration and just water and all of the things. And so love this thing. Highly recommend it to everyone. If they're getting into backpacking, I'm just like, just skip camelbacks. You're not gonna like it in a year from now, and switch to this. And so this comes in, I believe, at $31. If you do the Nalgene one, it does have a little bit bigger top here, and I think that one is $36. So the Nalgene one is a little bit more expensive, but this thing, guys, if you're gonna invest in one thing and you have a problem with staying hydrated on trail, this is it. Thank me later. um Anyways, guys, I hope that this has been helpful. I thought I could do a live to show you guys just in real time some of my favorite gear from 2024. And like I said in the beginning, didn't want to share with you guys, you know, kind of the standard year-end recaps of here's my favorite big gear. I love small gear. I love gear that solves problems. And so yeah, I just wanted to show you guys some of the things that I have found in 2024 and some of the things that have just become a staple for me that I didn't know about when I very first started backpacking. And so yeah, would love to know, you know, drop in the comments what you guys have found, what gear solves a problem for you. Drop a link. I would love to look at it. I would like to see the weirdest, strangest, craziest gear out there. I'm always down to try new things, and just like I said, I love cottage gear and just like the creativity and, like I said, the solving of the problems. And so I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope that you guys found some value in it. I tried to keep all the items under $50 because I know that, you know, gear is expensive. Those things are investments. You need to definitely do your research on those big items, but some of these small things can just be little things that you didn't even knew existed. And so I hope it was helpful. I hope you guys would like this video, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you guys want to see next. And like I said, share with me what you guys have found in 2024. I want to see your favorite gear from the year as well. I hope you guys have a good one. See y'all later.